their audio is working. Happy April Fool's Day. So COVID is over. Everyone got a bonus in their paycheck this week, and you all get an extra week's vacation. So enjoy. My gift to you. So
It's nice to have somebody on the call that's illusionary.
yes. Bo's got another fantasy that he put in the chat. So feel free to add your wishes to the chat. So I'm John Mers. I'm one of the 4 co-chairs of the Balance of State COC. I know most people are not on camera, but if you want to either use the reaction or put yourself on video and raise your hand if you got the vaccine, or if you're planning to get the vaccine. It's April 1st. It's now open to everyone 16 years and older. I think we all qualify for that. So I see light at the end of the tunnel, thank goodness. So as we are want to do, we start this COVID office hours that we held because of COVID, just to remember those who are struggling and those that we've lost to this disease, those that we've lost to the disease of racism and xenophobia and homophobia. So let's just take a minute and send good thoughts out into the universe. Thank you. So our agenda today is we're going to get just a few updates from our partners, DOH and CCEH. Suzanne's going to give us a dive into the American Rescue Plan. Don Parker will provide us there's Don, morning, additional updates to the Unite CT, where something like $585 million is coming into the state. And then our friends from Connecticut Association for Human Services, which is now a division of Advancing Connecticut Together. Tori and Luz will fill us in on some of the financial service programs underneath the ACT umbrella. And then next steps and resources. So without further ado, Steve, take it away.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. In terms of our updates, I think Don will give a great update about where Unite CT is. I think that's the major program that DOH has released this past month to really help households that have been affected due to COVID in terms of their rent. In terms of our homeless service world, there was additional funding passed in the American Recovery Act that we're waiting from further identification from HUD on what it can be used for. There certainly will be an additional level of vouchers coming to the state of Connecticut, specifically for the homeless population. So we're very excited about that. There's also funding for the home program, which can be used for a variety of different resources, from construction of affordable housing all the way to services. So waiting a little for a little more information on that, so we can kind of plan on what we're going to do. Now we're currently in the phase of trying to determine budgets for our providers for COVID related spending from now until end of September. We'll work to get that all squared away. And as we know, we spoke about in the past, DOH did commit 150 RAP certificates for homeless families, and those are in process of being matched and leased up as we speak. So lots of housing going on. So we're excited with the opportunity to use this funding for positive outcomes. So I'll turn it back to you.
Great, thanks, Steve. And Linda Casey from CCEH is going to give us an update from that quarter.
Good morning, everyone. And I will say I got my Pfizer shot yesterday. So first shot yesterday, doing great. So I'm talking today about the vaccination updates in HMIS, a perfect time to do that, having just had it. So I just want to give a few highlights. We don't have a whole lot of data in there, only about 120 or so records. Next slide, please. The number of people who are vaccinated is actually a little less than 119. That's actually the vaccinated status being entered. So again, this just got released into HMIS on the 18th, I think Thursday the 18th. So it's only been, about a week or so that it's been live. And 68 folks are indicated, clients are indicated as being fully vaccinated. 34 have partial vaccination, meaning they got one of the 2 shots. And so far, 11 clients have been entered as refused. We also have 6 folks who have been entered as no vaccination. And if you have been to the training or if you've seen the video, that's actually a really important thing for folks to remember, to actually go in and put in the status of no vaccination. So you can enter in you can find out very quickly from the reporting who's been vaccinated, who needs to be vaccinated, and who's refused. So that's a key status. So again, numbers are low, but getting up there. And the next slide really just talks about which vaccines they've received. It looks like it's an even split between Moderna and Pfizer, J&J only 9% so far. Again, our numbers are overall low. The reason it's unknown is because folks are back entering data. I'm assuming this is the case, back entering the data, and they may not have found out which vaccine was given. I do question that. I just want to make this a point that folks should be, if you're back entering data, it'd be great to look at the actual vaccination card that is given to everybody who has a vaccination, because it's clearly listed on there which vaccine they received. And that would just be a great reminder for the providers to know that they can actually enter that information. All right, and
sorry to interrupt you, Linda, but can a copy of the vaccine card, like a PDF, be uploaded into HMIS, since now it seems like we really need to keep those cards with us forever, or at least certainly in the near future. And we know folks lose their documents when they're homeless for various reasons. Could that be a copy as a PDF put on the HMIS file for someone?
That is a standard part of HMIS. You can actually upload any document and save it into HMIS. So that's not a problem.
Great.
Good question though. And again, just given 119 or so, a few more were entered. I checked this morning, but this is a race, but only 4 cans so far have entered. It looks like Fairfield's in the lead with 72. If we want to turn this into a race, Greater New Haven 22, Hartford has 12, and 13 entered for Eastern. And you'll see in the next slide, the majority of Easterns our client has actually refused. And you can see the breakdown here by the statuses. So as I mentioned, Eastern has the highest number of clients. Again, this is just who have entered it into the system. I don't know if this is reflective of the overall situation. 8 clients have refused in Eastern, 5 have been added as no vaccinations. So they have not recorded what they have had or anything done. Fairfield, you can see here, 44 folks have fully been vaccinated, 26 partial, and 2 have refused. Hartford only has 12, fantastic having 12 vaccination complete, and you can see the breakdown for New Haven there as well. So again, I'd like to report this on a regular basis. You can see how the vaccination effort is going. And also just get some feedback from folks in terms of anything that we can do to make your lives easier, to make sure that these are being entered into HMIS, because as we all know, and I know probably folks read the news this morning, looks like it's going to be probably 6 months, maybe more, certainly for Pfizer, before the next booster is due. So this is going to be part of our lives for quite a while, to be able to track these vaccines. And that's just going to be an important part of people maintaining, again, the safety in the shelter. The final slide I have for you is, again, remember that thing called COVID testing? It seems like it was something that was so hot and heavy a while back. I just want to give you some updated numbers on this because, again, I suspect that they're just not being entered into HMIS. I don't know if that's reflective of the testing actually not happening, or if it is happening, again, not being entered. But these are where the numbers stand right now. You can see in the first chart, the green line is the cumulative tests. So we have about just over 2,500 tests that have been entered into HMIS since the beginning, a year ago. And you can see by month how many tests are entered. The number 69 reflects all of the tests that have been entered so far in March, and that ended yesterday, obviously. And that's about a 40% decline from just a few months ago. So I'm not sure, again, if it's the testing is really dropping off, or if people are just not entering it into the system. Now, on the right-hand side, you can see the positive tests by month. And you can see here, again, these are still small numbers. I appreciate that. But if, again, anybody watching the news and following this in the state, our numbers are going back up in terms of people who are testing positive, hospitalizations are going back up. So we do have this kind of interesting juxtaposition between everyone's excited about the vaccine, or some people are excited about the vaccine. I know not everyone is, but we're also seeing that some of the opening of the state has resulted in some more lax practicing of the standard. So you can see here again, as reflected again, it's only 6, but the positive testing for those who are doing is going up. So just a reminder for folks, keep up the good work and keep up the good fight in terms of continuing with the testing, and we'll continue to report out the vaccination status as we get it. Happy to take any questions.
Great, thanks, Linda. Any questions? Put them in the chat or unmute yourself. Wear a mask, wash your hands, social distance. All right, so more money, more money, more money. So, you know, isn't it interesting that we never in social services ever have enough money? And then like, oh, well, we just found like billions and billions of dollars to infuse into the system. When COVID is over, everyone's going to forget that they found this money, but let's not let them, because I think that they found it once, they can find it again. So Suzanne's going to walk us through the American Rescue Plan and all of the money that's actually now on the table, miraculously.
Thanks, Sean. And I'm going to say, you know, it's kind of reminding a lot of people of when we had the Recovery Act in 2009, the ARA, the American Reinvestment, that started off HPRP, sorry. And it is a big infusion, but I think that we want everyone to kind of know what's out there, keep you guys abreast. So we do take advantage of it. We're not sending money back or leaving money on the table, and that people are aware what their clients are eligible for in this process. And we'll keep updating people, as Steve mentioned, you know, things might have been identified, but we don't have all the details on all of them yet. So we'll keep updating you on that. But certainly, hopefully you'll share these resources. Some of them are going to be applicable to some of you as employees, some of you, many of your tenants or guests in the shelter. So anyway, big money, as John said, more money, more money, more money. There's an elephant on the page. I think that just says it all. There's $43 billion in emergency rental assistance. There's $5 billion in emergency housing vouchers. There's $5 billion in homeless assistance and supportive services program. And just for comparison, is there a little mouse up there? Yes, that's what that is. It's an elephant and a mouse. The COC award every year that we spend all this time and energy getting ready for and applying for is only $2.5 billion nationally. So this just brings in like another 2 years of funding. So it's pretty wild. The emergency housing vouchers is a tenant-based rental assistance program. The E-vouchers are kind of being called, and they'll be administered through public housing authorities. And they can be issued up until September 30th, 2023. You can't add any new households. The emergency will be over unless they extend it at this point. So make sure you're in touch with your housing authority. As we get more information, we'll share it with you. As Steve mentioned, there's money for the home program, and the home program is a HUD program that comes down through a formula every year where jurisdictions get a certain amount of money. So I'm guessing, but my team will correct me, that this will probably be somehow related to the formula that they already use for the home program. And that is managed by the Department of Housing in the state of Connecticut. And the eligible things that can be done with those funds are rental assistance and services, and then also some capital work to acquire and develop permanent affordable housing, which is great. Capital dollars are hard to find. When we think about one-time money, we want to be strategic about it. I think Nan Roman is talking about we don't want to squander it, but we also want to take advantage. And one-time money is good to use for capital projects because it's a finite, in other words, purchasing a property, renovating property, because those are finite costs. So I don't know if this is dough or what's in these cups here, but you can see, I think it's dough that's rising in our image. The emergency rental assistance program is $21.55 billion nationally. in funding for emergency rental assistance, ERAP. It doubles the size of the program. We heard a little bit about this tantalizing program from Dawn last time, and we're going to get an update today from her as well. It's well over $200 million for the state of Connecticut for emergency rental assistance programs. Then just things that, again, may apply to staff, to you, to your tenants, all of the above, the guests, are the economic impact payments, which are people will be or already may have received funding, $1,400 per person or dependent. And you can see the eligibility for people earning under 75K. They're single or families, heads of households, and then dependent children, and college students and people with disabilities. So the amount of money is based on prior tax returns. We've really rung the bell about tax returns. A lot of people don't file taxes that we work with, or maybe have not filed, especially for 2020 with COVID. So, it's important to think about that because that's going to determine your payment. So folks, hopefully, I think we'll talk about some resources for tax assistance today, but hopefully folks of ours that we're working with should file if they need to. There's a little link in the PowerPoint that's active like always. So that will click you to get my payment. And it definitely is an issue for people who haven't filed or people who may not have bank accounts. So we want to make sure we are really working with folks to get their money, and almost everyone we serve should be eligible. So this big bill, ARP, I don't know if people are calling it ARP or ARP. It's a new acronym to add to the alphabet soup that we live in of acronyms. But anyway, I'll call it ARP. It sounds kind of fun. Extended the unemployment benefits through September 6th. So we've got another 5 months, I guess. And that's a $300 a week supplement for all workers who get unemployment. So it's a federal supplement on top of whatever the state provides. And it covers people also who are not eligible for unemployment often, like self-employed, gig workers, part-time folks, and also increases state unemployment number of weeks that people can do it. So that's also helpful for our folks. Then there's more money. So to keep the theme up, there's a really substantial change on the child tax credit. It is now increased to $3,000 per child for 6 years and older, $3,600 for people under 6, persons under 6. The full credit is available to more families, which includes people with low or no income. Previously, with a lot of tax credits, if you didn't own taxes, you didn't get the credit. In this case, that credit would be applied, even if you are not earning any income. So that's something we'll have to, keep our eyes on. The credit is now available to 17-year-olds and is blind regarding your tax or your immigration status. People may still be worried about that just because, what does that mean? Who's going to see the data? But in the rules, you are eligible regardless of tax ID or immigration status. There's also an increase in the earned income tax credit for people who are not raising children to about $1,500 annually, and raises the people who are eligible to up to $21,000. So this covers a lot of people who may get jobs and are working minimum wage. They're really not going to break the ceiling probably of $21,000. And it really gives a substantial credit going from $500 to $1,500. And you can be eligible if you're at 18, if you're homeless and there's no maximum age. So these tax credits are going to be actual credits, and the IRS is going to pay people in advance, which is, I think also, I don't know, I'm not an expert in IRS practices, but I don't remember the last time tax credits were paid in advance. Anyway, they will be coming out, these tax credits, in terms of payments to taxpayers. It will be based on the most recent return file. Again, that tax return keeps on coming there. Because it would be based on a prior year's taxes, it's possible that if you got your tax credit payment based on your 2020 earnings, and then in 2021 you made a lot more money, are you going to be taxed on that tax credit that they just gave you? I mean, talk about crazy making. So they put a projection in there for lower income households that if you're a single adult under 40, earning under 40K, and you can read it, head of household under 50 or married under 60, you are not going to have to repay these credits that they're issuing this year. So that's good news on the protection side. There's a lot in this bill, as you can tell, and I'm just speed talking, not reading every bullet, although John begged me to again, but I'm not doing that. Medicaid and CHIP fully cover the vaccines. I don't think anybody's paying for vaccines. I certainly haven't heard about it anywhere. They just want your insurance card, but people should not have to pay. And then there's also relief for people who need to use the Affordable Care Act for their health insurance marketplace. That can make up to $19,000 or $39,000 if they're a family. And the premium is capped so that it doesn't become extremely prohibitive for people to have health insurance. Okay, let me stop there. I know I talked a mile a minute, and we're trying to encourage folks to ask questions, make comments, tell us what you need as we go through things, so we don't want folks to feel left out or like they're not getting the information. You can be assured that Lauren in particular has her eye on this money all the time, but we'll be continuing to update you guys wherever we can on things that are be important to you or your work. Anything in the chat? Everybody's very good. Everyone's happy, huh? That's what happens. It's like, you know, we just had a big dessert. Now everybody's going to take a little snooze.
Yep.
All that money, all that sugar.
Yep. Well, speaking of more money, Dawn's going to talk to us about the $235 million that is coming to Connecticut. And she was with us recently and gave us an overview, and will sort of remind us of where we are and where we're going. So Dawn, take it away.
Great, thank you. Thanks. Hi, everybody. So we have been underway since the 15th of March. So we have about 1,900 applications where a tenant and a landlord have submitted their parts of the application. So those are complete submissions. There are a lot of people who have one part or the other that haven't come together. Out of those 1,800, I can say that we have created a new position in this workflow, and it's a pre-screening position so that the files are coming in very incomplete and they're not able to be underwritten the way that they're coming in. So I'm here with Balance of State, which is perfect because you're all the boots on the ground and you know who I'm talking about, because our priority is for households that are under 50% of area median income, or people who have been unemployed for more than 90 days. So they're the people that you serve in the community. We really are trying to educate to say, like, definitely people need more support in doing complete applications. It really is, it's minimal information. If you think about, like, this is $10,000 that a household can receive. It would be like filling out an application for a rental or a car or a credit card or doing your taxes. But we know that the people that are being served at that level, that's a big deal for them. And that's really difficult. So as we're thinking about, like, getting people to file their taxes, they're already touching documents. I would say, like, try to piggyback, try to say that Unite CT is a tool in your toolbox for the people that you're already serving out there. Because for you as a worker, you know what I mean? Me as a worker, I'm used to computer systems. So this is not as difficult. So in the community, when we're talking with the social service providers and things like that, they're saying the application takes half hour. If people have their documents with them, it'll take half an hour. If they don't have their documents and you have to, like, go to systems and download from DOL or do different things, it'll take an hour. But that's totally manageable for what we're used to doing in the world for applications. And it is all online. So I would just really, what's going to happen is right now there were like about, I'll say like 600 applications that were done by the landlord and tenant who were high risk, that high risk pool. And we only have, we don't have a lot that have been, certainly have not been complete. It's been a week and a half that we've been trying to get documents. And we probably by the end of this week will be maybe a dozen that are totally complete to be funded. The next rung of people, like the next box, the medium risk level, there's a lot more applications in that level. And I kind of think that that will be where people will be more complete because they're used to having to provide documents for different reasons. It's not a heavy lift. So of course, when we're talking about the most vulnerable, right, that's who we're concerned about. And so if the most vulnerable are stuck and can't get into the system to get the money, make sure that you're pushing it out through your organizations, that you're there to support. I'm happy to do any community conversations. I've actually put out like to the legislators, like, how about if you host a town hall meeting and bring everyone, your social workers in the schools, the town, the librarians, like whoever is your like go-to trusted people, the nonprofits, you know what I mean? And bring everyone together, because totally those folks that we want to make sure get the support are going to have the hardest time getting this together. And that's just the nature of what we do. You know, we all know that story. But it is really exciting because we're seeing like that we can help a lot of people. Once this system starts rolling and we have complete applications, it's going to be really visible in the community what's happening. Another thing, there's been like, because this is a two-pronged system, the tenant comes in and completes their part. They invite their landlord to come in and complete their part, or vice versa. The landlord can start the process and the tenant comes in. Together, they have a complete application that's able to be evaluated and underwritten. I will say there's definitely more people who have submitted from the tenant side than the landlord side. But together, if we can teach, the landlords, work with your tenants, because the tenants will just kind of wing it and like give an email address that's random and it's not really going to their landlord. And then all the documentation and requests are going to like be requested and then it's not being received because it's not the correct email, especially for people who use property managers. So we have to make sure that like the lines are, we're educating people, like the lines have to be clear so we know who to communicate with. So those are kind of two, I would say, in the balance of state world, there's things for you guys to do in outreach and engagement in the communities to try to help the people that you serve, for sure. And then the other thing is,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you want me to advance these slides or?
What was that?
Do you want me to advance these slides at all?
Sure.
Or?
Yeah. Move forward.
Move forward. I didn't know where you were talking about so many things. People will have the slides afterwards, right? So I just didn't want to hit your flow up, but.
I'm sorry. Yeah, because the balance of state has seen this presentation. Right, so
this is pretty much the same as.
So we don't have to. Yeah, it's the same presentation, I think.
And everybody's got their.
Actually, I think the update is the summary and then what landlords need and what tenants need. I added those slides.
So you could, Suzanne, you can, go right to the end then, because people have seen this or they've received it after the last one. All right, slow down now.
I know, I was going to slow down here. This was the slide I kind of wanted to get to anyway, because you were talking about the document. So I was like, oh, maybe we should go to that slide. So.
Yes, that's what this focus today was. This is like the 2.0, right? Now that we've been doing it for 2 weeks, we're like, okay, here we go. We know we have more things to talk about. So this is just to make sure there's a flyer that Liz will send out to everybody. And really we're focusing now, knowing that the incomplete files is our barrier. We're focusing on saying, this is what you need in order to have an application. So for all of the, it's really identification, proof of income. The income is 2 months or the tax returns from last year, whichever is easier for people to put their hands on. The lease agreement, in all honesty, a lot of people don't have. So they can say, my landlord will provide this. And then we can use what the landlord uploads. The landlord typically is uploading the complete lease. So you know what I mean? We're fine with that. And then the proof of past due amount, we want them to tell us how many months they're late and how much money. The proof usually they don't have proof. That proof will come from the rent roll from the landlord, but we want to know, what do they know about their situation? And then we'll find out what the deal is and we'll try to decide what's happening in the household. The proof of the electric bill, that's if they need arrearages for electricity. They just upload that. And the COVID-19 hardship, a lot of times we create a reasonable judgment on that because we can see like that their income stopped in July of last year, or something has happened that's connected to why their rent is late and why they're struggling. There are people though who are people that we're talking about that have a history of problems before COVID. So maybe there's something in addition that's happened since COVID, but they would need to have a document, the financial hardship document, to explain to us what has occurred differently. If we're seeing, those rolling balances and that type of thing, we need to justify how COVID played a role in their current situation. So,
Is
but
there a
that's,
form for that, Dawn? Is there
there
a
is, yes.
hardship form? Okay.
Yep, so on the website, really, if people haven't spent time on the website, just take 15 minutes, read, sit there with the website, open up all the documents. There's FAQs that are continuously getting updated too, which are they really are common questions. And so it's just familiarize yourself, bookmark it, and kind of go back in there and say, okay, what's new? Because every day things are updating for sure as we're using the system. So that's typical for the tenants. And then when we look at the landlords, again, pretty typical what we need. We need the property information, the tenant information, their W-9, the complete lease agreement, proof of ownership, and then the rent roll. Now, I will say, maybe many of you, I don't know, but we just put out an FAQ yesterday to remind people that Concord is a great website. So people want to prove who the ownership in LLCs. That tells us who the members of the LLC are. So it's one document that can be printed off and verify a ton of information. Verifies who's in charge, what their addresses are, everything. In addition, vision appraisal is another really great resource online. And vision is an assessor's database. Not all towns use vision, but most of them do. And then you look up the address. The address is going to tell you everything about, it'll confirm the address, it'll confirm the owners, so you can find that trail of ownership. One thing I notice on the files is that with property managers, they get confused. A property manager is not the landlord or owner, they're a representative. So I don't want to see any of their stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, once you start pulling in the underwriting, you start confirming, you're like, that doesn't match up. It's because they're posing that they're the ones. So they're sending us their W-9, or, no, you're representing the owner of the property. So that's kind of bogged down a few too, which was interesting to me. But so we're getting there, but it's nothing more than what would be expected for a light lift on asking for money. All right, let's see if there's another slide. I can't remember if I sent anything else in.
This
This is okay.
This might be good, right? But making sure everybody knows.
The community partners, I mean, really, we just need to get the word out that if people need help, there is help through like legal services. There's help through, of course, 211 for other things that could help their household. I'm thinking about like the people who are receiving, after your conversation, Suzanne, with the money that's coming out in different ways, there's people who have arrearages that are well beyond 6 months. We're only dealing with 6 months at Unite CT. We're saying we'll pay for 85% of the arrearages and 15% the landlord needs to write off. So it's a compromise. We're compromising on everything we're doing. What we're saying is we are not going to have anything to do with what happened before, like past that 6 month marker, except we're saying to the landlord, you need to stop any court proceedings from the point of funding in the past so that people have a clean slate. However, you know that landlords are going to be hesitant of that if they're like, really, well, they owe me $20,000 and you're going to pay me 10. Like, and I feel like this is where I'll be next year too. So with all the money that's coming out into the households, I did supportive housing for years, right? And tax return time was when we all got caught up. Make sure that you're communicating out for those heavy hitters that have really significant balances. have them start making a plan with that landlord on a repayment and pay a chunk when they get that money, be invested. They don't have to necessarily pay it all, but do their part so that the landlord says, okay, we are going to be on a clean slate. Let's move forward. Part of Unite CT is that for prospective rent, households have to contribute part of their income towards their payment. And it's a sliding scale, but it really is to get people back into like, this is a partnership. Housing is a partnership. You have to do some part in order to show that you're invested. Yes, there's situations that are happening everywhere, but like, even when we're saying, you know, somebody would pay 10% of their income towards their rent, that's not a lot to ask, but it shows the landlord that tenant is there and saying like, hey, we're in a partnership. This is terrible for everybody, and we're going to do the best we can together. So try to communicate out to your partners on that too. I don't want landlords to not work with us because of that. You know what I mean? So anyone can help with the application. Really, again, this goes back to spread the word. Have someone that you trust help you with the application. It's really easy from a smartphone or a tablet because you do the application and then you take photos of your documents. It's super easy that way if you can get your hands on a smartphone or an iPad or something. Okay.
Great. So advance to the last slide of Don's presentation so folks can see the website. There you go.
Perfect. Yeah, there you go. And bookmark it on your favorites. And you know, like the conversation about like money keeps on coming. Well, we're really creating a system here that can be infused with money on the back side. We can meet the regulations of whatever comes next, but to the public, it will be Unite CT so that we can keep on moving through these different rounds.
Great. As
So
always,
were there some
Don,
questions?
there's
Yep.
a
So
question.
Yep.
Go on.
In the chat box, what are the requirements for people that need help with future payments?
It's the same. It's the same application.
Okay, and then what happens when a tenant didn't pay for months and then leaves the property with the landlord holding the bag?
Yeah, that doesn't apply here because it has to be a combination of the landlord and tenant coming together for a partnership.
Great, thanks.
So we've got some folks who are going to talk to us about some of the services that help people get money back into their pockets, help them spend it wisely. And so I'm going to turn it over to Tori Hamilton and Luz from Connecticut Association for Human Services. Full disclosure, after our legal affiliation, they work with me. And so if I show bias toward them, please forgive me. So
Can I pop in 1 second and say, like, reach out to me, please, so we can do some work together? So just reach out to me, okay? Thank you.
Already done, Dawn.
Well, and your email address went into the chat box, Dawn, so just be warned.
Well, thank you, everyone. My name is Tori Hamilton, and I'm the Bank On Program Coordinator with the Connecticut Association for Human Services. And as John mentioned, we are so pleased to be under the wonderful umbrella of Advancing Connecticut Together. I have Luz Holmes with me. She's our Hartford Financial Navigator, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about our programming at the Connecticut Association for Human Services. Connecticut Association has been in existence for over 110 years with a single purpose, hasn't changed in 110 years, and that's to eliminate poverty in the state of Connecticut. And so our programs dovetail so that we can accomplish this mission. Next slide, please. Oh man, I think I need to enlarge my screen. I can't see anything. Okay, thank you. So now these are
Can you see it now? Is it
yes,
okay?
I can. I made
Okay.
it bigger on my side.
Okay.
So our asset building programs are listed below, and we have our Connecticut Money School. Connecticut Money School works with individuals and community groups on a integrated program of financial literacy. We provide this free of charge. We have volunteers who provide this service, and many of them come from area banks and the financial institutions to provide that service. Our flagship program being our volunteer income tax assistance program, that speaks for itself. If a person or family earns under $57,000, they are eligible to receive free volunteer income tax assistance through IRS certified trainers and preparers. One of the best things about our program is that we work directly with the IRS. So we are ensure that all of the credits that people need are received. So that's our volunteer income tax assistance program. It's primarily run through 5 counties across the state, except Hartford, because Hartford is already handled with the Village for Children and Families. Our Hartford Financial Navigator program, which Luce will talk about more, is one of our newest programs helping Hartford residents affected by COVID. Our Youth Money School, it dovetails directly with our Connecticut Money School, but a focus on youth financial empowerment. Financial coaching. That's our one-on-one financial coaching program where a mentor and a mentee work together on whatever goal that mentee has set for themselves. So it's mentee driven. And we work together for a year, usually one time per month, to advance the goal of the mentee. Bank On, that's my program. Bank On works to connect the and underbanked to safe, affordable, and certified accounts offered by partner financial institutions across the state. Currently, we have 7 banks that offer these accounts. The caveat is that none of these accounts have any overdraft fees attached to them. Okay, so in addition to that, they don't have insufficient fees. They have low monthly fees and minimal account creation fee requirements. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about that if we have time. And also we have our New Haven Financial Empowerment Center, working with New Haven residents on their financial goals, be it budgeting, credit, home ownership, and as I mentioned, credit rebuilding. All of our programs work together with our policy division, who works with our legislators to advance the mission of the low to moderate, or the program or the agency, and increase acumen for the fight low to moderate income families across our state. Next slide, please. Now we'll have Luce join us and talk to you more about our Hartford Financial Navigator program.
Thank you, Tori. Good morning, everyone. My name is Luz Holmes. I am the Hartford Financial Navigator for the city of Hartford. So I'm just going to give a brief overview of what the Financial Navigator program is. It's a 1-year grant program through the cities for financial empowerment that trickled down through the city of Hartford in partnership with the Connecticut Association for Human Services. I started this position last year around September, where I was tasked to gather a full holistic toolkit of resources, services, programs, partners that could service the Hartford residents during this time of the pandemic. Particularly, my task has been to do a lot of outreach to share the word about this program, and then to conduct one-on-one sessions with the residents that enter into the program. So how it works is basically they would schedule a session with me through our website, the CAS website. They would schedule a session. From there, they would come into my queue. It would take 24 to 48 hours for me to reach back out to them to see if they still want to do the session. During the session, we do things as far as prioritizing payments. So I think, Ms. Parker, this is definitely an awesome correlation with your resource, being that we talk about the different resources that are out there, such as the stimulus check, tax season, Unite, rental assistance, all those type of things, and really find out how they're prioritizing the different payments that they have. And then we talk about how they can utilize different services to kind of help them decrease any type of financial issues or needs that they may have. We work with other financial navigators in different states to discuss what are some of the national resources that are available as well, such as resources to decrease credit card debt, to decrease identity fraud, all of the things that go along with that. But particularly with my program, I've really seen a huge intake in rental assistance, utility assistance and hardship, and mortgage assistance. So I try my best to find resources and services that can help our Hartford residents during this pandemic, during this time, to really resolve those issues. And so basically we stay on the phone for 30 to 60 minutes. We talk, I get basic information about how I can assist them. I talk about how they can maximize their income through accessing the emergency assistance that is available to them. And then we talk about what are some of the resources are just short-term, but then we talk about long-term assistance as well. So that gives me the opportunity to connect them to CASA's program, right? The financial coaching program. So if they are having an issue paying their rent or paying for their utilities now, we want to make sure that they're not having the same issue around March of next year. We want to make sure that they're not falling into that same pit come next year. So we want to connect them to those longer assistance programs, such as the financial coaching, the CT Money School, and things of that sort. So yeah, that's what the Hartford Financial Navigator program is. And this particular program only services Hartford residents, but the other COS program services all of Connecticut.
Thank you, Luz.
Welcome.
And so we can advance to the next slide. Oh, okay. Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier, Bank on Connecticut not only connects our residents with safe, affordable accounts, but it also dispels the negative connotation associated with the banking institution today. And if you look at statistics, 32% report that the reason why they don't have a bank account is because they don't trust banks. You know, banks have eaten up their eaten up their monies in fees. And many people just can't afford it. With COVID-19, every dollar needs to really be accounted for, right? So I think about the person who is a newly unemployed mother who's awaiting unemployment benefits and gets hit with a $37 overdraft fee and can't buy food, right? And so these are the things that make us really promote these accounts across the state. Presently, the accounts that we promote are offered through Bank of America. They have the Advantage Safe Balance account. Chase has the Secure Banking account. Key Bank has the Hassle-Free account. And in addition, there are 3 new accounts that have come on board over the last 6 months. New Haven Bank is offering their Bank on Checking account. Thomaston Savings is offering the Uncommon Checking account. And US Alliance Credit Union, our first credit union, is offering the Totally Digital Dora account. These accounts are available for all Connecticut residents through the branches of banks listed nationwide. And you can also use the QR code that are listed under each bank on the flyer. And those barcodes, if using a smartphone, will bring you directly to the account creation page, right? Presently, because of COVID or due to COVID-19, many of the institutions are allowing for accounts to be created without any monies due until 30 days. So you can create an account and not fund it for up to 30 days due to COVID-19, okay? In addition, many of these banks are also offering incentives for people who have direct deposit. I know one of them is offering a $250 bonus. Another one is offering $200. Now, I want to just talk briefly because I know time is of the essence, but because of the populations that you serve, right? There are many people that don't have identification and can't open a bank account. Many of these institutions are aware of this, and two in particular are allowing for people to use their shelters as their home address, and they're doing a background check in lieu of state IDs or driver's licenses. So if any of you have any clients that are in that position, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll put my information in the chat so that we can help your clients to get into a safe, affordable, and certified account. I know time is of the essence. We have like 5 more minutes. So I want to talk a little bit about our economic income payments, impact payments. These are funds that we all know that have been issued to help us through this pandemic. And the 2021 economic impact payments are now on the way. We're getting calls every day from people who have not received them. Many of them, as I can see now, are people who are Social Security recipients. There is a tool on the IRS which is linked on the slide deck, where anyone that's interested in finding out about their economic impact payment, can use that link to find that information. Is there another slide? And as I mentioned earlier, our flagship program is our Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And we provide, as I mentioned, if a household earned $57,000 or less, they're eligible to receive these free services. To obtain these services, a client would call 211 for an appointment or go onto our website, cos.org/VITA-HTML. We have IRS trained, certified volunteers who are ready and willing to complete your taxes at no charge. And that's what, as I mentioned, our flagship program. And over last year, we've helped people secure over $27.5 million in monies that they probably wouldn't have earned any other way. So I thank you for your time. I know that's our time. Forgive me for
Great job, Tori.
Forgive me for this fast to go through, but as I mentioned, any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for your time.
So I just did some quick math. If you work a 35-hour-a-week job, you still qualify if you make less than $31 an hour.
That's
now,
right.
I know what a lot of the starting salaries are for our employee or our agencies. So this isn't just for our clients. This is also for some of us in the room. So for sure, take advantage of the VITA program. So thanks. And so just reminder that announcement, the federal eviction moratorium has been extended. Make sure that you have statewide legal services on speed dial for anyone who's getting served eviction papers. Read that at your leisure. There's recordings. So reminder for folks who also attend the steering committee meetings, which are on sort of off weeks from this monthly meeting. We're extending it to an hour and a half. So our next meeting will be April 16th, 11 to 12:30. Feel free to bring your lunch and eat it while we go through that business meeting of the Balance of States Steering Committee. I think that's really it. Just a reminder, slides of the webinars and resources, and then how to contact the Housing Innovations team or those of us at the Connecticut Balance of States DOC with that Gmail. We've got about 3 minutes. Any questions?
Can I just add a comment in there? I like that you said like to be cognizant that a lot of the people that work in social services qualify for a lot of the programs that we have available right now in the community. And Unite CT, it goes up to 80% of HUD's area median income. So I mean, like that's like 78,000 in a lot of places for a family. Just like in general, you have to look at your town, but I just want people to know like this applies to a lot of people in the community. So, and there's no better way to learn than to do it for yourself.
I'm having Tori do my taxes. I got an inside track. So our time is just about up. So if folks want to take themselves off camera or put themselves on camera, I should say, and just sort of wave to everybody as you exit the room. I always love seeing people's faces. Some of you will have tomorrow off, so enjoy your long weekend. And as always, reach out to us if you have any questions, concerns. And I look forward to the day when we no longer have COVID office hours, but we do have in-person steering committee meetings, because then we'll get donuts. So until then, take care, everyone. Much love. Be kind.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.